and welcome back. So new evidence emerges in the case against Julian Assange. And yes, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, and then the coronavirus delayed it some more. And the response to this from the defense is to basically say, we'd like to delay it some more. So without further ado, let's jump into the nitty-gritty details of it. So lawyers for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange say 11th hour decision by US government to lodge new charges against him is astonishing and potentially abusive. So the US made a fresh extradition request to have a WikiLeaks founder sent from UK. Of course, Sajid did sign last year, I believe, in order to have him extradited. This was following the sentencing in private, in secret, from America, which is to say that they've already decided what he's charged with. They've already decided what the result will be, but Julian Assange doesn't know. Therefore, he wants to know what he's letting himself in for if the extradition request goes ahead, but America isn't saying so. Now, if you're optimistic, going on the back of what Barack Obama did on January 17th, 3 days before he was replaced with the God Emperor himself, of commuting Chelsea Manning's 35-year sentence down to 7 years for the time that she'd been in, then Donald Trump will be commuting Assange's sentence even before he goes to prison in America, or might even give him the pardon that he deserves. Because, given that Donald Trump has said we've got to pull our troops out of the Middle East, that the whole idea of the nation building doesn't work, and yes, I've heard people like Jocko Willink with their intervention strategies, which makes sense in a way to then say we don't need to be there anymore, because they're saying we go in to establish stability of how the country should run itself. Once they're able to defend themselves against the terrorists that exist there, which are active domestically and internationally, then we can pull out. We do not want to be the largest presence in the country. We want the local forces to be able to control their own country. That is the idea of the interventionism. However, doesn't seem to be working very well. And that is what Julian Assange showed through WikiLeaks in the Middle East, with the war logs that he published, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands of words that were shared, and the cable leaks as well. And then, of course, with what the DNP were trying to do as well, favouring Hillary Clinton, supposedly hacking into their servers. But again, that seems highly unlikely. So, with regards to all that, if Donald Trump is really wishing to pull troops out because the public are against the wars happening in the Middle East, there would be because of what Julian Assange exposed, in which case it would not really make sense for him to say, yes, you are the reason that I hold this policy, so thank you for letting me know what's happening, because I agree with you. However, no, I'm going to imprison you anyway. So we are really, really hoping that it is his fourth dimensional chess game that is, I'm going to have these charges in secret so that you will be pardoned when you come over here, but I cannot tell you that yet because otherwise the UK will not let you go. That is what we are hoping for. And possibly with the idea of the charges being insufficient in terms of the extradition, that they thought, well, then we need some new ones, some more evidence in order to make sure that we win from the American standpoint. But this is seemingly less likely given the last change. So what's happened is new evidence has come to light, brought out from the US government in order to lodge their new charges. And the idea of doing this so late is that then you overwhelm the defense with how much they have to go through in order to refute, that it's going to sway the jury or the judge in order to then decide to favour the prosecutor instead of the defense. That is the tactic of doing this. It's just like if you have small lawyers or a small group of lawyers trying to take on a bigger firm, and they put in their request for information that they will then be swamped with hundreds of thousands of unnecessary documents to mask the relevant ones. That is how they get around it. And it's a similar tactic here to try and just overwhelm the defense to not be able to deal with the new charges and evidence that have come to light in order to ensure a quicker victory, because then they can highlight the relative important stuff without the defense having any good defense for it. With that in mind, Julian Assange faces 17 charges in the US and also conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, which on its own is a 5-year prison sentence. And these were based on charges in new, superseding indictment that was sent over. So they're really serious about this. And he is accused of helping ex-analyst Chelsea Manning link classified documents before he retired as editor for WikiLeaks. Of course, given that he was in Belmarsh for 11 months, at which point he was also not quite cellmates, but neighbours with Tommy Robinson, of all people, as it happened. But was then also told in November last year, of course, that he needed medical attention, otherwise he would probably die in prison, because living in isolation tends to have detrimental effects on you. So, Assange, 49 years of age, faces 17 charges under the US Espionage Act and conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. So the 18 counts in total. Count 1, conspiracy to receive national defense information. Counts 2 to 4, obtaining national defense information, which are the same as through 8. And then 9 through 17, disclosure of national defense information. And count 18 is conspiracy to commit computer intrusion or hacking. The new claims against him were not disclosed in court today. But, District Judge Vanessa Borica has said that this has been delayed long enough, and so although the defense called on her to exclude the new alleged conduct within the charges, claiming it was the only way to achieve justice, she said that basically, no. As it's lawful and common for US prosecutors to continue investigating a defendant's criminal conduct after he's been arrested or charged. He's explaining how it is that in the American system, there can be superseding indictments before the decision is reached, of course. So, Judge Borica said that Assange has not yet even been arrested in relation to the new extradition request, and further delay to his case should be avoided. And she also told the court she did not have the case management powers to handle the defence's exclusionary request. However, it was up to Assange's legal team to decide whether to make an application to vacate the case, which is essentially to throw it out and start again once we can get back on level footing, in order to give more time, despite the consequences being extremely unattractive from the judge's point of view of saying, we want this over and done with as soon as possible, let's not drag this out longer than necessary. Of course, the defense is, we agree, we don't want to drag this out longer than necessary, but we do need enough time in order for justice to prevail. Vacating the case is basically throwing out the current ruling and going on the previous one, but if there's new evidence coming to light, then you can submit a request for that, but you have to show that this new evidence wasn't something that you overlooked beforehand, which will be, it's always difficult to do when it's the government involved, but should be feasible given what America has been doing in secret, which is, of course, in part why Assange is in trouble in the first place over his logs. So, that is the latest as it comes to Assange, and I think it's important to highlight these points, given that I know that most people won't be covering them, but they are vital from a free speech perspective, which is, of course, why we've had people out saying, jail the war criminals, free Julian Assange, given that he is the one that did expose the war criminals, including, of course, what led to the exposing of the Benghazi incident, which was a terrible indictment on Hillary Clinton as well, that the whole idea of WikiLeaks was for journalism, which is, of course, why he won the many awards that he did for journalism, including peace as well. Because, obviously, the Washington Post likes to say democracy dies in darkness, and Julian Assange is actually trying to help shine a light on these things, so you would have thought that they would like him a bit more. But nonetheless, we'll have to see eventually, how this pans out, given that the defense said that they would use best endeavours to make their decision by August 19th, but warned they may need until August 21st. And adjourning proceedings, Judge Borica told Assange that depending on his lawyer's actions, this was the last administrative case administrative hearing for his case, and that he had to be physically present when his full extradition hearing takes place next month instead of just being by a video link this month, that this will definitely take a while and be going on a lot longer. But whenever there is new things coming up like this, it's important that it is still in the public conscience, because if not, then of course government can get away with a lot more things if they are aware that they are not being held accountable. That's why I'm trying to do my little part here in order to spread the word. So if you like, then please do share this around. Like, comment down below, subscribe, hitting the bell. It always helps to smash that like for the YouTube algorithm. It really, really likes it. Just make it turn blue. And as always, until next time, have a good one.